Hey, it's Thursday. Welcome to Green Eggs and Ham, Thursday edition, with me, Allison. This week, we are talking about what we want to do with our lives. You've heard from Ashley and Hannah and Mason and Angela already this week, so I guess I get to wrap this question up and post a new one for everyone else to answer next week. Woo! So, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? When I was little, I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to drive rockets and talk on cool space radios and explore Mars and, of course, eat space food. I tried that a few years ago. Dehydrated ice cream is not tasty. After I realized that being an astronaut would be pretty dangerous, I decided to be like Lemony Snicket and write books and edit them myself in like a tiny little apartment in New York City. My pen name could have been Appley Giggle. But within the first month of beginning band in sixth grade, I knew for a fact that I wanted to play and teach band for the rest of my life. There was something totally ridiculously cool, about being a little part of something so much bigger than yourself. And everyone was important as an individual and so was responsible for learning their part. However, it wasn't a piece of band music until we all came together and played. My sixth grade band director completely inspired me because he not only encouraged us to be good musicians, but he also encouraged us to be good people. He's pretty much the strangest person I've ever met, but he's completely brilliant. He also was my private teacher from sixth grade until graduation, and sometimes during my lesson, he could tell that I was upset or anxious about something, and instead of just brushing it aside and continuing on with the lesson, we'd sit and talk about it until I felt better. And sometimes I didn't even know I was upset until he asked how I was doing that day. So that's what's so cool about my sixth grade band director. He's a fantastic conductor and teacher, and he also deeply cares about every single one of his students, like even the ones who mess around and make him pull his hair out. So those are the best teachers in the world, and they mean so much to me. And they're my role models, and if I make half as much of a difference as they did to me, I will accomplish what I want to do. So besides being a band director and inspiring other kids, the other part of what I want to do with my life is kind of silly and old-fashioned to most people. I want to get married and have kids once I'm done with school. I've been with my boyfriend Garrett for like 4 years, and he's my best friend and absolute favorite person in the entire world. And we're gonna get married someday. And I'll teach music, and he's gonna go to med school to become a doctor, and eventually we're gonna have a beautiful, happy family. And that sounds really silly, but like that's really what I want, and I'm really excited for it. So that brings me to the flip side of this cassette, where I ask the new question for the week and give my response. So the question is, who has been an inspirational role model to you as you were growing up, and how did that influence you to become a band director? So this could be a famous musician or your band director, or it could also be a parent or a relative or another person in your community. So they don't even have to be related to music if that's what you want. And you are not limited to how many people you can talk about. You can pick and choose, or you can tell a lot about them, or you can tell just a little about something about all of them. It's totally cool. So since like Rome wasn't built in a day, and in the same way, you're not you because of one single person, right? So tell us about your role models, so not just for music, but also who has shaped you as a person. Yeah. Man, I've had so many wonderful people in my life, so like this was really difficult for me to narrow it down. I've talked a lot about my band and choir directors inspiring me to go into music ed, so I thought I'd take a different route and talk a little bit about my family, because my family means the world to me. My parents brought me up to be a proper young lady and to thank God for all the little joys in life and to always do the best at everything that you do. I also have two little sisters, Claire, who's a junior in high school, and she plays trumpet, and Emma, who's in sixth grade this year, and so she started clarinet this year. Yeah. My family has always supported me and come to my music concerts and musicals and halftime shows. And my mom reminded me at the very beginning to have good practice habits and to always hear what I'm doing well, but also what I can improve on. She's like such an encouraging and loving mom. She's awesome. Um, and my dad drove me to 7 a.m. jazz band practices and picked me up from lessons and asked every day how I was doing, what was going on. But I think my favorite thing that my dad always told me was how proud he was of me. That meant the world to me. He passed away 2.5 years ago, and I think that's what I miss most. But my dad was the sweetest and most loving and most hardworking man I've ever met. Like hands down, like seriously, you have not met my dad. He's awesome. Um, but he was my first role model, and whenever I finished playing at Cranert, I kind of like look up into the balcony and like I imagine him telling how proud he is of me. So that concludes Thursday's edition of Green Eggs and Ham. Thanks for listening with me, Allison, and have a thought-provoking Thursday, University of Illinois.